And we are back. This is the Nerdrotic podcast, and we are live on YouTube. It is Monday, February, 21st? 20th. Yeah. February 20th. And we are here.
21st.
Is it 21st? Why is
it's the 21st. It
says 20th on our computer there. Whatever. We are going to be.
Sorry, it is the 20th. Sorry.
So we'll start out. We are back. This is the Nerdrotic podcast. My name is Gary Beekler, and I am with my lovely co-host and wife, Melissa Wagner. And in San Diego, I'm with Dennis Bethalkis. What's up, man?
Nothing much. It seems like a long time no see, Melissa. You know, we seems like it's been a while.
Yeah, like 5 minutes.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder. I haven't seen you since last night, and we are here to talk about the freaking amazing Taboo. This is episode 7. These episodes do not have titles. And this was my favorite episode so far of the series. I thought the way it moved, everything about it was just top notch. And it starts out with a bang. You know, it starts out, we have poor Winter bit the dust. And it looks pretty much like our friend James Delaney did it. He was in a drunken stupor after losing his ship. And what Dennis and I discussed last podcast, which we didn't discuss with you, Melissa, and I wanted to hear your thoughts on it because it was brought up in this episode. It seems to, Dennis kind of pointed this out, and I absolutely agree, that James Delaney's got like a little bit of a leash, like a time limit going on. He's in a bit of a hurry. And remember when he's talking to Lorna Bow in his kitchen, and no, his sister, he was talking to his sister, and he said, you know, she said, well, we have time. And he's all, no, we don't. So I think that kind of laid it down. What do you think about that, Melissa?
Well, I was kind of looking at it like the time limit is he needs to get on his ship and he needs to get to his destination where he wants to set up his Nuka Sound, where he wants to get set up. Like there is a time limit to that because he's got to make it through the window of being able to get through the American border. So part of all of his deal is like them letting him through. And I would imagine things are changing so quickly in the new America that that's not a long-standing thing. That could go away at any moment. So he needs to strike while the iron's hot and take advantage of the deal.
There is the blockade, and the blockade will go away once the war is over. But I think that's part of it, but I think there's something more to it.
Yeah. Right. The very first episode when they're burying his father and his sister says, we thought you were dead. And he says, I am. And so I think, and I postulated this to Gary, and I think he's actually made a deal with whatever demon it is, and he's come back to right whatever wrongs it is, whatever vengeance it is. Because another thing I was noticing in this episode, he keeps telling people, I have a use for you.
Yeah.
And when I have a use for you, it's normally that you're damned. You're going with him to whatever, you know, because like he's saying, everyone's going to come on board my boat and they're going to come with me.
Oh, you know? Yeah. I think, and we will get to that point. I think, that is definitely, well, earlier in the series, he did talk about, like, I've got no friends, I've got no partners, you know, and I'm paraphrasing here. I've got people I have a use for, and that's it. I don't have any caring or love for anybody, which is not entirely true. He's trying to hide that. But we first see Brace is having his Alfred is having a really hard time this episode. And James Delaney kind of figures out that it was Brace who killed his father.
Yes.
As a mercy, because he had, but more for religious reasons, right? I mean, he was mad. He had lost his way from God. And he just
burning his skin.
He was burning his skin. And he was so upset. And James, you know, just said, you did him a kindness. That's what you said you did. And I agree with you. And Lorna Bow is trying to pluck a chicken in the kitchen and she's fucking it up.
Yeah.
A duck.
She's fucking a duck.
She's destroying your kitchen and ruining a perfectly good duck.
Now, the actor's name is David Heyman, and his portrayal of Brace is like brilliant. Like, he is so freaking good. He's got that hard piratey, whatever the hell accent going on. He's talking like this all the time. But it's he's so freaking good. But there was this episode, I don't know, Melissa didn't entirely agree with me, but it felt like it moved the fastest, like there was the most going on, and I think there's only 10 episodes.
No, I think next episode, if I remember correctly, at the end of this episode, it said 8 is the final episode.
Oh shit! That's why I was like, things feel like they're moving in a hurry. So,
like we're winding it up a little bit, huh?
Yeah. So, what was your highlight of the episode, Melissa?
God, I thought that sort of like the finality of dealing with his sister. It was kind of, I thought that came together really well. Like he played the part of her cleaner, right? Went over, took care of the husband's body and all of that. So when she comes over and she thinks, she shows up at work, where she shows up at the docks and shows up at the office, and she's like, and he kind of dismisses her. I mean, she needs to look at that as kind of like the blessing it is. He sets her up with some money, gives her a chunk of diamond, sends her on his way. And it's like, if you're putting all the damned people on the ship, she isn't supposed to be one of them. So he sort of denies that they are, as simpatico as she was once led to believe. Right.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And, I wonder how long he can buy off people. I wonder how many jewels, we kind of got an idea how many jewels he had left. He just had a little bag.
Well, no, remember he found all those jewels in the ship. Remember he went through the ship that he had and found all the jewels. And so he had like a big bucket full of them, pretty much, of them that were all within the cracks of the ship.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, but he stole those. When they're talking to, what was that guy's name again? Chichester, George Chichester, the guy who's trying to bring the case for the crown of the slaver ship. He divulges a lot of information. We find out that James was the sole survivor of the ship, that he was actually captured by a slave tribe, and he robbed a slaver of all his jewels. So I mean, there's
his diamonds.
That's where I thought that the diamonds came from, because remember when he's digging out of the grooves of the ship, weren't that the tribal beads of the slaves?
That might have been that, because I know he buried something in the very first scene of the very first episode.
That was him. That was when he got to town. He hid all his money. Like he didn't want to roll into town with his pockets full, so he stashed all of that. But what he found in the ship were the beads, which is why he knew that was yet another ship that was being used as a slaver ship when it was off. Like, so now we find out in this episode that what they're doing is they're changing the name of the ship when it gets to port. So the influence was not just the influence, it was the Cornwallis. So what they would do is actually change the logs and change the title of the ship once those slaves were onboarded.
I wonder how grounded in history this is, because there was a ship called the Cornwallis back in the day. I mean, not surprising. It was General Cornwallis. He was like one of the greatest figures back then. We also got a little bit of ghosties coming in. Winter does kind of show up, and I love how they shot that. That was so freaking cool, how they kept him in focus. They put like an iris, what is it like when you do the vignette in Instagram, and she's kind of out the corner of his eye. And that's when you find out he's not so soulless, because he does try to ask Winter, like, did I do it? And oh, shoot, God damn my moving hands. And we don't get an answer
down
because she disappears. I think somebody enters the room and she disappears. So we move forward. So Winter's mom, Femke from Run Lola Run, she's a little upset. Helga, decidedly so. And she rats out our pal James to the East India Company, which, I mean, what the fuck did she think was going to happen?
Yep.
After all the, like, he let her keep, she was squatting in his building. He let her stay. I mean, yeah, he did. It looks like he killed her daughter. So I understand why she's upset.
Yeah, that negates everything. But I mean, did she really think that she was going to get out of that scot-free? Like, after she openly admitted that she was helping him, they were getting compensated for helping him. And now you're like, you never go in and just go this, that, and the other thing. Like, it's like you have to go in there with the intent of cutting your deal first before you give him all that information. She could have written her own ticket. That was really poorly played, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
She's definitely not the brains of the operation here.
No.
She was very mad, and you could tell it just kind of overrode any kind of clear
strategy.
thought,
Yeah.
strategy.
Well, yeah, and thinking they would let her go, which was obviously idiotic. And normally, you're right, she probably would have caught that, but she, emotions get in the way. So the East India Company takes them prisoner so they can, give testimony. And we got to give it to James Delaney. He can think on his feet. Now, they almost played directly into his hands, minus the torture. Minus the whole penis torture or whatever the hell was going on there.
That was
you
skin.
couldn't watch, huh?
They were, what they were doing
squeamish.
was they were taking a grater and they were
That's
rubbing
what's
it
a
against his
grater,
legs.
right?
Yeah, it was against his legs.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
The inner
So,
thigh.
I thought that's what they were doing.
So, and then
Gary his mind always goes right to penis torture.
Hey, you get anywhere near there and it's just penis torture. That's all.
I thought that at first too, and then
the neighborhood.
They close up on it. And they showed his leg, his inner thigh, and they showed the grating. And I was like, they showed it for a split second. It's like, okay, good. They're not doing anything to the penis because that's just wrong right there.
Oh, dude, I'd be singing and talking. I'd be making up shit I didn't do, whatever. But before that happens, we got the stenographer, Godfrey, is convinced to kind of lie that he's going to give testimony to George to play against Helga's testimony, which was James thinking on his feet, and he knows he's going to go in, and it doesn't even bother him. And of course, he makes it through 12 hours of torture. And
all he wants to do is speak with Strange.
Yeah. Yep. Stuart Strange alone. And, that's what gets us to the, and so much more happens. That's what gets us to the end. But what I want to speculate is what's, before we talk about that final scene, is I kind of want to talk about what you think is going to happen next, especially if this is the last episode. I haven't heard anything about this being picked up for a second season. I'm going to assume that it has been. Have you heard anything, Dennis?
I haven't heard anything either, so I don't know.
Well, everybody's been loving this thing. So
yeah, I'm really hoping it gets picked up for a second season because it deserves to actually get picked up for that. I mean,
it looks very expensive.
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, I know they lost money on it. I think we talked about this in one of the previous podcasts that they had lost money on it, but
but I think that can't be the only reason that they haven't said it. I would imagine that if anything's holding up an announcing of a second season, it's probably that Tom Hardy has some projects that we might have to work around because he's so popular.
Yeah, but your article right there says Tom Hardy's Taboo will get a second series, confirms co-creator Stephen Knight.
Nice.
And that's on the Telegraph. So they say series, not season, over there in London, which is probably the proper way of saying it. But I don't know, if this would be a great show, over 7 or 8 seasons, but I think 3 or 4, with a nice bow at the end, because I definitely want to see him go to America. That just would
that would be really good to see.
I love the scene when all the shit was going down and everybody was burning their papers and stuff. Stop. When they're burning their papers, when they went into the American guy and they're like, "Hey, you better get out of here," and he's all, when my blues are blue and my whites are white, my reds are red, then I'll run. And that was fucking badass, dude. I was like, yeah, that's our rebellious little American right there. And then Carlsbad was burning all her papers. And and then what the hell's the chemist guy? He's the guy Chumley. I like. Chumley. Yeah, he's the guy's just a great actor. Did he look like he was going to blow his shop up, or did he just leave his papers? Because
he just burned the papers and walked away. That's all he did. He just burned the papers.
There was a lot of chemicals in there. I was kind of hoping for an explosion, but that would have been very bad and telling. And he stalled long enough to let them all get the hell out of there. But I don't know how the hell they're going to escape. Unless you're, like you said, Stuart Strange. At the end of the episode, not bury the lead here. He has a use for Stuart Strange. He's like, I have a use for you. What do you think that use is?
Ship. He's gonna get the ship from him.
He's like, you don't want me here testifying against you? Put me on a boat.
Yeah, and it
I'll
basically,
leave.
he says, as he said, Stuart Strange said when he walks in, he goes, "Here we are, you in a cell and me on a hook. You as bait and me as me on the hook." And because he knows that he's on the hook for the trafficking of slaves, which is illegal
Yep.
in Great Britain, and if he's found out, the whole East India Company comes down.
Yep.
And that's what he's going to do. Is he's going to parlay his there we go, parlay, the pirate term.
Parlay. Don't say parlay.
He's going to actually leverage that against the boat for Strange's freedom.
And we predict probably at the end of the next episode there'll probably a couple of deaths, but we'll be sailing off. But I think we're gonna also get some background on. We got a lot more mommy flashbacks. Who looks just badass in her make. She see her braids, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Those were badass.
They're almost as good as mine.
Almost as good as yours. I think we're gonna get a little more history on like what happened to mom, what really happened to mom, what really happened to dad, and.
Well, yeah, because remember, also they're he's talking to Brace, yeah, inside the gunpowder storage factory there, and he says that's where my mother was held, and she points to a bed that has chains on it, and it was kind of one of those weird things. You're like, wait a minute, I thought she was at the house, that she was staying at the house. We never saw anything about the bed with the chains in this weird factory where they're holding the gunpowder at. So, that's part of the story that's missing there.
Well, they did say that she had been committed. So what they probably did is they probably had a few people there that had like fits or seizures or, some sort of mental instability where they had to be chained down to keep from hurting themselves or other people. So that seemed like that's where they were holding her. And that's why he chose that as a place because it had been abandoned at that time. Yeah,
all the places he's been choosing are things that have happened in the past. If you've noticed, the mill is where his son was being held at. The offices, of course, his dad's old offices. Where the gunpowder is being stored now is where his mom was being held as she was going insane, I guess, and of course his house. That he has.
It's almost like he's hunting these places.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like that's really interesting that he's going to places that he's familiar with. There is no new. That's really interesting. Yeah, there's something very cool. I think we're gonna get like kind of a crazy reveal. I have no idea what it is. It could be he's dead. He sees dead. Well, he obviously sees dead people. I love how I love how the magic has just been kind of like limited use, not overused, not Limgardium Leviosa and all that Harry Potter shit. It's we almost don't know if it's real yet. We see him fucking around with feathers and powder, and that's that one scene where the doctor, where he was asked what he has, and he's all, I have powder, and now he could have meant gunpowder or his little spooky powder, whatever the hell he's got. I was more expecting, when I saw the title Taboo and I saw these trailers, I didn't know what to fucking expect. I knew it was going to be Tom Hardy being badass, but that's about it. I didn't know. I thought it was going to be more like sexual taboo. I didn't think it was going to be more taboo in the pre-Victorian era sense where he's half-breed and more of the racist taboo than the sexual taboo.
Well, you also have the sexual taboo in there with him and his
definitely with the incest. There is the incest.
Yeah. And
but after Game of Thrones,
child and
normal.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, it's almost a little bit like, oh yeah, okay, well then there's that. But yeah, and it doesn't even seem like that strange at all, right?
No. I love how Brace says bastard. You just said it so it's a bastard.
I kind of
at this point it was like thinking that the Delancey is just, he's a little bit like more unhinged than I thought at the beginning of the series. Like when he's doing his magical kind of thing, and there's all I at this point I'm kind of like, how much of that is just like his little ritual to help him get through the day
You think
right?
he's on the spectrum?
And I think that I think he's like, it's more like a post-traumatic stress disorder. He's haunted. He has his own demons, and his way of getting through that is by sort of like, meditating. It's almost like when they go into a sweat lodge and kind of like get those toxins out and whatever's bothering him. And that's what he's doing. He's sort of communicating with his past and just trying to make some peace with it. He has these seizures, these episodes, these flashbacks all the time, right? And that's why, remember, we had the whole twisted sex scene with the sister where he starts like choking her because he loses his place in time almost.
Well, when he saw George, he had to ask if he was real. But I think the magic is real because he did have sex with the sister through the fireplace.
Or was that her dream?
Well, and he could have just said, "Yep, that was me." He could have just said, "Yeah."
I did like when George is questioning him, and he starts going off on this weird thing. Maybe I should come back later, and he goes, "No. I'm like this all the time.
I'm always like this."
That's exactly what I mean. Like, it's like, I'm just like this all the time. I don't think there's going to be a big reveal of this being like he's dead. This is some sort of purgatory. This is some sort of like, mission for the damned to get him on a ship. Because really, why would a dead guy need to go to Nuka Sound? Like, why would he be making this deal? Why would he be? It's just too strategic the way he's trying to set up his future for that to be a part of the plot.
I think he's trying to get Nuka Sound back, not for a company, though. I don't think it's a monetary. I think that's on the surface, but I think it's more for the tribe or something to keep it from happening. I don't know if he can. We don't know. It's very open. It's very open on that one, and they've been alluding a lot to like these dark things he did. So he might have ate a guy, but I think we're gonna find out. Like he's actually, done some pretty horrible things. That's why it's so easy for us to believe that he killed a kid. But we find out later
he did not.
Did not kill the kid because Lorna Bow sees her little friend, Winter's little friend, and
one of the little orphan boys.
Yeah. So I don't know if he witnessed it. We don't know exactly what happened, but it was the East India Company that did it. So that's going to open up a can of worms and maybe a can of whoop ass too. We don't know. But I didn't see the scenes for next week. That's the one thing I missed from watching the episode early, but because we saw the BBC feed.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of the highlights for me is that his son is in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, that has a lot of room to have some connection and kind of, I don't know, ground him.
And he gave him that key.
Yeah. The key to the safe.
And he was playful about it.
Yeah.
He's like,
but he even says to his son, I have a use for you.
Yep. Yep.
Which that made me worry when he said that. I'm like, oh man, what's going on?
Poor cute little Robert.
Yeah.
I love his little grunts. I mean, that only Tom Hardy could like mumble his way through a TV show and grunt.
I was trying to make a hashtag for that for the Instagram, and I'm all, is that a M capital MPHF? What I mean, so your input on that would be appreciated, you guys.
You probably use it's kind of a growl, so it's like a herm almost.
Yeah, it's a
herm, and herm.
See, I think it's more of a.
Well, it's what Rorschach. It's kind of a more heavier what Rorschach. It's called herm. And yeah, he goes herm.
Yeah.
Herm. Yeah, but it's more of a it's I don't know.
Internet
world, work on that one. Okay, what's the hashtag for that? We could just say it's I have a Tom Hardy. But yeah, I thought it was a fun episode. A little torture, the Fat King being pissed off, Lorna Bow being super sweet, and Brace being tortured, but just like Alfred, it's fucking Batman. It's effing Batman.
Yeah, I loved how broken up he was over the thought of James being tortured. Like once he was in the tower, he just like broke down. It's like, he was always sad that he came back because I think that he knew that this is the direction it was going to take. And for that to come to fruition, he's just like, he's broken.
Yeah.
Well, I also love the whole thing too in the tower when they're like, how long is this going to take? He has to torture. He goes, about 2-3 hours. And then later on, he goes, how long? The King George is asking, how long has he been there? 12 hours. And then, he finally goes out, comes back, give him what he wants.
And he's spinning his little globe. And I was telling Melissa when we were talking in our pre-show meeting, that's Mark Gatiss under all that makeup. Mark Gatiss, co-creator of Sherlock, co-writer of Doctor Who. You could tell he hates whoever the Prince Regent is, and he must know this guy, for one, is an English historian too, besides being a comedian and a writer. He must hate this character so much because so much malice comes out of every pore of his body when he's acting this character. He's like so disgusting.
He's so disgusting.
Yeah, he was Mad King George. That's what he was called.
No, that's the Prince Regent. Mad King George is that's the Prince Regent. Mad King George at this point is alive, but he's locked up. They haven't shown him yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got confused there. I thought he was King George. So
No, this is during King George's reign. So that's why he's the Prince Regent, which means he's just sitting in the chair while
he's acting.
Yeah.
Okay.
As the leader because the other one's already mad and locked up.
And honestly, I wouldn't know anything about succession and regents and anything if I hadn't read Game of Thrones. To be honest with you, I learned a lot of it, about feudalism. So it's so futile. All right. Well, I guess we got one more episode. That's so sad.
Yeah.
But, especially since we've got this is like kind of a hit for us here at Nerdrotic. So we're very excited about that. But we've got Expanse. So Dennis, I guess you can join us for Expanse when this is over. Because
I got to catch up. That's what I'm going to do. And
Expanse has 13 episodes this year. So very excited about that. And I was just with my AA buddies and everybody's watching it and it's starting to catch on. So you can tell when a show is starting to just bust out. It's going to happen for Expanse for sure.
Right. I have to say that I've been talking to a lot of people about Taboo and Expanse, and a lot of people don't even know about the existence of Taboo. I don't know if it's been promoted in a way that's just not it doesn't have a broad.
You're right about that because there are a couple of guys at A didn't know about it either. I think it's just an FX thing, and if you don't watch FX, although they did promote it a little bit on Fox,
not much. It's a lot more Fox promotion on FX. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, where it was promoted heavily, and this is where I heard about was YouTube. It was promoted heavily on YouTube.
I actually saw what was it, IO9 and. I want to say I saw it in a magazine or a comic or something like that. I don't know when I would have read that because I really don't pick up comics anymore, to tell you the truth. Oh, you know what? I think it was on my Amazon Kindle. Is what
there
happened.
You go. Yeah, because I don't think this was so. I think old school people who watch, who aren't cord cutters yet, they probably didn't get a lot of this. But I mean, it was heavy on YouTube. Everything I saw, maybe it was, but YouTube is also marketed to the individuals, so they probably have some schematic where Gary likes Tom Hardy and 1800 shit and porn. So we're gonna mix this in, and
and he also likes Tom Hardy's naked ass.
Who doesn't?
Mm-hmm.
What's better, is naked ass or smoochy lips?
Oh God, we're gonna do that episode next.
That could be an entire debate. We can do a nerd splaining on that one.
Nerd splaining on smoochy lips.
John can talk about that.
That is right up his alley.
It is. Right, I had a joke there that I just reeled right back. It's politically incorrect. Okay, so all of our podcasts and videos can be found at nerdrotic.com, and we had a catch-up weekend. So what did we blast? 8 podcasts got loaded in the last 72 hours. A little much. So do some catch-up because we know you really want to hear me and Dennis, and especially Melissa's voice is like angels in your ear, but Dennis and I, we're like 2 little fleas crawling around in there and picking at your ear hairs. But we want to be in your ears. That's that was going to be
more like that little kid that sits in the back seat going, "Mom, mom, 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 mom," and finally turn around, "What? Hi."
You're pretty.
Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah.
So well.
Dad. So nerdrotic.com. That's the website. That's where our videos and podcasts are. We are also on Facebook with the Nerdrotic Podcast. Please like us and say some stuff. That's cool. We don't mind. And it can be negative. We can handle it. Yep. Our YouTube channel is the Nerdrotic channel, where all of our videos are posted, please comment. People do actually comment. Actually, one of our most liked videos is a taboo video that we did.
Awesome.
So that's good stuff. And there's going to be a lot more to come. Just check out our website. And yeah, John Reed, our editor extraordinaire, will have podcasts out every day. So Dennis, you want to take us out?
Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out, America.
May the small folks sing songs of your greatness.
Resistance is futile.
It is. Good night, everybody.
Good
Good night, everyone.